Afternoon. We're going to bring the Building, Zoning, and Economic Development Committee today, February 26, to order. It is 4:01. Clerk, could you call the roll, please?
Chairperson Patty Smith.
Here.
Vice Chair Shweta Bate.
Here.
Alderman Carl Franco.
Here.
Alderman Mike Seville.
Here.
Alderman Bill Donnell.
Here.
5 present.
Thank you. Our first item today is approval of the minutes, 25-0145, an approval of the minutes for the Building, Zoning, and Economic Development Committee meeting held on February 12th, 2025.
So moved.
We have a motion by Alderman Franco, second by Alderwoman Bate. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That item goes forward. Clerk, do we have anyone here for public comment?
We do not.
Thank you so much. I'm going to just make one change in the agenda. I'm going to start with 25-0165. That way we can keep some of these other items together as we go. So if we're prepared for that, I'll go ahead and read the item. So it's 25-0165, an ordinance vacating a city easement on the property located at 4173 Ogden Ave in DuPage County, Aurora, 60504.
Good afternoon. Emma Field, Associate Planner. So the Engineering Division is requesting the vacation of a city easement for Valley Honda, and the Valley Honda final plan was approved a few weeks ago. And they're trying to add multiple additions to their building, and this addition, the proposed tunnel car wash, is going over one of the easements. So they are looking to vacate the easement here and then later establish an easement just south of it. And I'll bring up so this is the area, this is where the tunnel car wash is, and they're gonna vacate this and move it slightly south to here, which should appear at the next city council.
Does anyone have any questions? Yes, Alderman Seville.
So this was not included at the last one where we updated this property with the vacations?
So, yes, so the vacation plat is done separately. So we
Okay.
went through the variance and then final plan for Valley Honda, and now we're going through the vacation
Oh, okay,
and then
gotcha.
easement. Yeah.
Thank you.
So I was not here when this came to BZNE the first time, but prior to that, I had the opportunity to sit down with some of the people at Valley Honda to see their drawings and to see the changes that they're making. I personally serviced my car there and purchased my car there. So it's well-needed changes. They are growing pains and they need the space. So, and this is an employee-owned business, which is really cool. We don't have a lot of those in our world. We need more of those. So everything that happens within Valley Honda is everybody in that business is reaping the benefit of it. So it's really important to support the expansion of this Valley Honda. So
Well said, yes.
Second.
we have a motion by Alderman Seville, a second by Alderman Franco. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That item moves forward. We're going to move on to, we'll start back up at the top, 25-0152, an ordinance establishing a conditional use plan development approving the Abbey Meadows plan description and amending Chapter 49 of the Code of Ordinance, City of Aurora, by modifying the zoning map attached thereto to an underlining zoning of R4A, two-family dwelling district, and OS1, conservation, open space, and drainage for the property located on the east side, of Randon Road and Mason Lane Extended. Do we have a presentation on this?
Madam,
Do you want to go ahead and read the
Chairman,
other?
would it be better if you just read them all and then we
Yeah,
can all
if
discuss
would you
them?
prefer I do it that way, sure. Thank you for that.
No problem. My tea is over.
25-0153, an ordinance amending Chapter 49 of the Code of Ordinance, City of Aurora, by modifying the zoning map attached thereto to rezone approximately .01 acres of the property located on the east side of Randent Road at Mason Lane Extended from R1C one-family dwelling district with the conventional use of R1, use to R1, one-family dwelling district to move the property from Marmion Academy to plan description. And the last item is 25-0153, a resolution approving the preliminary plan and plot of lots 1 through 51 of Abbey Meadows subdivision on vacant land located at the east side of Randon Road and Mason Lane Extended. There you go.
Great, thank you. Jill Morgan, Senior Planner. I was going to introduce the project, kind of go over the zoning, and then we have the petitioner here who can go have a presentation more about the actual project itself.
Is this a presentation that's sideways in our packet, or that we couldn't open up?
Oh,
Yeah.
I couldn't open up yesterday, and then I got sent to me on an email, so I had, not through this, so I haven't checked this one.
I'm looking at it now. through
Is it
email.
coming out?
Yeah.
Presentation?
Is it on your?
When mine, I got the unknown error on
Yeah.
this
Did you get
again.
the email from Crystal?
So you're looking at the email?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have the email, so yeah, we can
Okay.
do that. so.
okay,
All
I'll
right.
work with,
I can't
work
open it on
with
my
them.
Get that put on
to
forward,
fix it
yeah.
before COWs.
Thank you.
All right. So the subject property is, you can see here on the map, is currently vacant. It's zoned R1C, one family dwelling district with a conditional use, and is part of the Marmion Academy plan description. So the petitioner is requesting a conditional use plan development to change the R1C, one family dwelling district, to R4AC, two family dwelling district, and OS1C, conservation, open space, and general use district. So on the map, parcel A, they're proposing to go R4A. Parcel B is going to be proposed to go OS1. The project includes developing a townhome project on parcel A, and then the associated detention on parcel B. Then concurrently with the project, they're requesting to rezone approximately 0.01 acres, and it's this little area right here, from R1C, one family dwelling district with a conditional use, to R1, one family dwelling district, to remove it from the Marmion Academy plan description. So currently there is a fence on the property, but the fence is actually approximately 15 feet west of the property line. So the petitioner is wanting to rezone it, remove it from Marmion plan description, have it just R1 zoning, so that they can then convey those property to the adjacent homeowners. So they will divide it up. There's about 5 properties that it's abutting, single-family homes that are abutting that area. So they will just convey that to those homeowners. So then they'll become part of those homeowners' ownership. So, and then they're also, along with this, we're doing a preliminary plan and plat. I'll bring up the preliminary plan real quick. The details of the request include developing 43 buildings with containing 220 townhomes. It'll be a mixture of 2-story traditional style homes with front-loaded garages and 3-story urban style homes with rear-loaded garages. And part of the project as well, Mesa Lane will be extended to Redant Road. You notice that it's kind of a little curved here and not a straight line extension. We worked with the developers to try to make sure that the development is sensitive to the surrounding homeowners and the surrounding developments. Is there any questions for staff before I want to hand over to petitioner to kind of go into the project itself in more detail?
Just a quick restate. Did you say 2-story and 3-story?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
both with garages?
Yes.
One or
yep,
2-car garage?
At least 2-car, minimum 2-car
Okay.
garage.
And then, as it spills out onto the road, what road is it going on to?
So the Mesa Lane Extended will come down to Redant at Marmion Academy.
Okay. Anybody have questions at this point? Okay. Keep going, we will.
Can't even open my email now.
Thanks. Good afternoon. I'm Kathleen West of the law firm of Donmuth, Colbine West, Gensler, Philip, Chuck, and Corrigan. and our law firm represents Lennar Homes. With me this afternoon to assist in this presentation are Tim Kellogg of Templeton Property Consultants and Matt Warline of Semcon Engineering. Lennar has been building homes since 1954. In 2024, Lennar was the second largest national builder in terms of revenue and closings, and the largest builder in the Chicago area. It recently completed Liberty Meadows here in Aurora, and this was a very successful project. In this Chicago area, Lennar has 58 communities, of which 12 are townhome projects. And Abbey Meadows is located on the east side of Verdant Road and north of Butterfield Road. To the east is Kirkland Farms, which is designated as low-density residential, that is 0 to 5 dwelling units per acre on the city's comprehensive plan, and it is zoned R1S. Also to the east is the townhomes at Savannah Crossings. It is designated medium-density residential at 6 to 12 dwelling units per acre on the comprehensive plan and is zoned R4AS. On the west side of Verdant Road is Marmine Academy, which is designated as quasi-public and is zoned R1S. Also on the west side is the Vineyards, which is designated low-density residential and is zoned R1S. The properties to the north and to the south of Abbey Meadows are owned by Marmine Academy and have the designation of quasi-public. The property to the north is zoned R1S, and the property south is zoned B2S. The comprehensive plan designates Abbey Meadows as quasi-public. That's because it is part of the Marmine Academy campus. This plan, which was revised in 2017, anticipates the extension of Mesa Lane through the Abbey Meadows property. Abbey Meadows is zoned R1S and is part of the Marmion Plan development. Abbey Meadows is envisioned as a townhome community consisting of traditional and urban townhomes. It will be very similar to Liberty Meadows. Traditional townhomes are 2 stories in height and have front-facing garages. Urban townhomes are 2.5 stories in the front and 3 stories in the rear, and they have rear-loaded garages. The traditional townhomes are located along the perimeter of Abbey Meadows. They're in the light brown color. And the urban townhomes, which are in the darker brown color, are in the center of the development. As you can see, Mesa Lane is extended through the development over to Verdant Road. It's slightly curved so it can align with Marmine Academy Drive. And then with this extension of Mesa Lane, this intersection will be improved with turn lanes. And it is anticipated that parking will not be allowed on Mesa Lane. There is a landscape buffer along Verdant Road. And that is illustrated here in this photograph. The adjacent neighborhoods to the east, be Kirkland Farms and the townhomes at Savannah Crossings, are buffered by 3 stormwater detention basins and landscaping also. Each townhome unit has 4 parking spaces, 2 in the garage and 2 on the driveway. There are approximately 40 additional guest parking spaces spread throughout the community. They're usually like in 2 So they're just spread throughout the community. There are 2 open space areas, one on the north and then one in the southern portion of the development. Abbey Meadows is approximately 31.9 acres in area. There will be 220 townhome units, 116 traditional homes, and 104 urban units. There is a total of 43 buildings, and each building contains 4 to 6 townhome units. All the units are 3 bedrooms. The residential portion of Abbey Meadows is approximately 25.8 acres in area, and that will be zoned R4C. The open space portions, which are the 3 detention areas, is approximately 6.1 acres in area and will be zoned OS1C. The gross density of Abbey Meadows is 6.9 dwelling units per acre. The comprehensive plan defines medium-density residential as 6 to 12 dwelling units per acre. So Abbey Meadows is well within those parameters for medium-density residential. The open space area on the north side of the development will be passive. It's a place just to go and play ball, toss a ball around. The open space area on the south side will be a park, and it will have play equipment, and it will have a gazebo. This is just an example of a traditional townhome building, and this is an example of an urban townhome building. Abbey Meadows is adjacent to Kirkland Farms, and this drawing shows how Abbey Meadows will be buffered from Kirkland Farms. Likewise, this drawing shows the buffering between Abbey Meadows and the townhomes at Savannah Crossings with the detention basins and then this 52-foot wide strip of landscaping. And Jill brought this up, but there is a sliver of land between Abbey Meadows and these homes in Kirkland Farms. This strip is approximately 13 to 16 feet in width. And the strip of land extends from the fence line of Abbey Meadows and to the rear lot lines of those 5 houses in Kirkland Farms. The property is owned by Marmion. However, over time, the strip of land has been used by some of the 5 residents in the area. So Lennar has designed Abbey Meadows so as not to extend beyond the existing fence line. And this will allow Marmion then to convey to the 5 Kirkland Farms property owners their abutting share of the strip of land, and that will be conveyed to the homeowners at no cost. And these are just examples of how the townhome units in Abbey Meadows will be oriented to the buildings in Kirkland Farms and the townhomes at Savannah Crossing. These are just representative of this development. The color scheme for Abbey Meadows has not been determined yet. And now, Tim Kellogg will explain a little bit about the units themselves.
Good afternoon. My name's Tim Kellogg. I'm with Templeton Property Consultants here representing Lennar. And I get to do the fun part talking about the houses. One point to really make quickly is we know that this is architecture is something that goes into final, but we really like to show it at the preliminary stage, especially because you're not going to see any renderings at all within the housing. The elevations on the outside, the pictures on the inside are all real Lennar townhomes, no AI generation, no artist kind of approximations. So it's really fun to be able to show you homes that have been built in the Chicago area already. The first one here, as Kathy pointed out, are the traditional townhomes. These are photos of a community up in Crystal Lake area that just is starting the first occupancies. There's also a townhome community like this going in Oswego and Hudson Point. So several just right in this area. They range in size from about 1,700 square feet up to about 1,840. Their price point is going to be roughly about $400,000 as far as the sale price. And when we talk about pricing here with Lennar, one really nice thing is that you'll also see with the model photos that I show that it isn't like the old days where someone would walk into the model home and get all excited and say, oh, by the way, 400,000 is what isn't shown here. This is going to be 500 or something like that. They really are trying to do a job of doing what they call designer select, which is showing in the model home what people are going to get generally as far as what they buy a home. Then let's see here. So that ends up being about $225 per square foot for pricing. We always kind of look at, see what the surrounding community is. Here with Savannah Crossing being directly to the east, we really wanted to see what was going on there. Their average sale price over the last 12 months or so has been about $316,000, which is about $170 per square foot. So we're definitely going above that, and should be no concern as far as any type of negative pricing impact to them. It should bring up their values also in their future sales. As far as the architecture itself, I want to point out a few things. As Kathy said, colors, this is representative of what's up in Crystal Lake. Likely there'll be some little different colors for the one in Aurora. One nice thing is with the colors being a little differentiated, it allows to show a little bit. There's 3 different types of the vinyl siding here. There's the horizontal that you generally see a lot over the years, but there's also vertical lap siding in some of the accent areas, and then also in the peaks, shake siding. Then there's also some integrated wrap around the windows, and also stone wainscot and some accents there as far as that goes too. So really exciting as far as some of these integrations as far as architecture are just new to this piece up in Crystal Lake, which is why we're using those photos. These photos came in literally the day that they had completed this home. I'm going to go through a couple of the models, not all of them. This is the Marianne, about 1,767 square feet. As Kathy said, these are all 3-bed. These are actual photos. You see what you get, pretty much is what we like to say with it. Now I'm just going to kind of go to the next one then really quick here so that I don't waste too much of your guys' time. Next one here is Charlotte. Again, these photos are actual models. Stainless steel appliances, 42-inch kitchen cabinets are all standard. Going to the urban townhomes, what's really fun about this is what was built in Liberty Meadows. So it is a product that was extremely successful for Lennar, one of the top 1 or 2 communities for them the last couple of years before it sold out last year. There was even some photos earlier on, a little stormwater management facility as far as open space that was right from Liberty Meadows. This is, I don't know if you're familiar with it or not. I think several of you were still on when we brought this to you back 3 or 4 years ago. It is on Wolverine Drive, just off of Liberty, a little bit to the west of Eola Road. Going through the urban, a little different here because there's 3 stories of living. First, they call the lower level, is the garage, also a little area for whether it be a home office, workout room, some extra living space, and then also the laundry. First floor is the general everyday living space, and then the second floor, the top, is the sleeping area. Some interior photos, quartz countertops, double vanity for the master bath. The the thick vinyl plank flooring, probably kind of like is in here. So it's really durable, and customers have really come to like that as far as it's maintenance-free. Second one to show you is the Chelsea. This one's the largest home within Abbey Meadows. It's a little over 220 square feet. Again, the 3-bed, 2.5 bath, and more photos here of, oh, I actually got, yes, so, oops. So a few more photos of the actual interiors. With that, I'll hand it back over to Kathy to do a little summary. Thank you again for your time.
You know, Lennar is very proud to present this development to the city. Abbey Meadows should be another successful development for the city and an asset to the community. Lennar would request that you approve this development proposal as presented, and we are here to answer any questions that you may have.
Alderman Franco, would you like to start the questioning?
Yes. How many entrances and exits do we have into the subdivision?
We have an entrance, let me go
I
back.
see one on the west side, right?
Yeah. Okay, go ahead. I'll get the drawing.
Mesa continues throughout, so it's a connection through. It's, I believe, a minor collector for Aurora, and Aurora's been looking forward to quite a few years to have that connection to be able to have. So you'll see right there.
Right.
And then also over to the west on
Right.
Redont Road, which will match up to Marmion's exit from their high school.
So that the one that goes to the east, where does that lead to? Because it's really.
It goes all the way over to Kirk Road.
It goes, oh, it does, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here, so you'll see it can,
Here's Kirk.
yeah.
All right, so
Oh,
there's two then.
Yes.
I just want to make sure, because we had a situation recently, it's not, the dynamics aren't the same, but one in and out, it wasn't really the best situation, so the two is good. I'm glad to see there's two there.
Ward one. Ward
One other nice thing is at the entrance, there is a divided median, so that allows a little bit better access if there happens to be an accident there. But we do have two true accesses.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yes, is this Ward 1?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, okay.
It's Alderman Barrios.
Go ahead.
So this currently, this land has a conditional use on it.
Yes,
That means Marmion still owns it.
that's correct.
Do we know why, after owning it for many decades, probably since the 60s, why they're choosing to sell it this time?
I am not privy to that information. Our understanding is that they no longer see a use for it, and we're wanting to allocate capital somewhere else.
Mm. And do you remember what the conditional use was for? What do they envision this property?
Hi, Ed Sieben, Zoning and Planning Director. They've really not had planned use east of Redant or even west of Hart. I know west of Hart, is their Christmas tree farm primarily, and then east of Redant, they've entertained developing that over the last several years. As Joe mentioned, the piece just south of this that goes down to Butterfield, we rezoned that to B2 back around 2006, 2007. And then with the Great Recession, everything kind of slowed down.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, everything's just now starting to pick back up, so.
All right. And not all your units have basements in going through the report.
Correct. They do not have basements.
Is there a reason why they don't all have basements?
It's just, as far as this product goes and earth balance and the site conditions, and just, it's pretty much the 3 stories, in essence, being 2.5 story, the front portion does have a little bit of a basement feel, but then the traditional 2-story townhomes, Lennar's product in the Chicago area is straight 2-story.
Basement free?
Yes.
Okay. And staff is fine with that?
That's pretty standard with our townhomes. There's been I think maybe one that had some basements, but typically they don't. It's usually more the single families where we push the
I
basements.
just know Americans like their stuff, so.
That's why you picked the 3-story.
That's right. Yeah.
Alderman Donnell.
Thank you, Ms. Chairman. I happened to go out and look at the property today, drove it around, nice day. I noticed there's a lot of mature trees on the perimeter of the site, and there's a couple of them right in the middle of the site, close to where you had one of your parks. Or did you guys do a tree inventory to identify any trees you might want to save?
We did not do a tree inventory. Generally, the trees around the perimeter are from the old fence lines. And then also, some of the trees that you'll see are actually, this was a previous phase for their Christmas tree farm.
No, these are like oak trees. These are not Christmas trees. I did notice in your Crystal Lake project, you had mature trees behind those. So were you able to save them in Crystal Lake?
The Crystal Lake project, I did not work on that one, so I cannot speak to that. Generally, what ends up happening is any trees that can be saved within engineering, but usually the property line perimeter trees are a challenge to save because of stormwater management. You need to contain that water, move it away, and be able to get it to the stormwater facility. The property line to the north side, a lot of those trees are to the piece to the north that is not part of what Abbey Meadows will be.
All right. So you do have a little park proposed very close to where I believe 2 large oak trees, for some reason or other, were preserved in the middle of that field. I don't know if you've seen that when you're out there, but I'd appreciate maybe if you took a look at that. It doesn't show up anywhere on your plans.
Okay. Yeah, if site grading will allow for it, that just really ends up being the challenge with stormwater management.
Well, this is that little park on the south side. There's a couple of large oak trees very close to where that is. And I
Right-
kind of thought maybe
right
you
in
put
this-
that park there to preserve those trees.
Right in this area? I don't know if
Yes.
you, okay. I will check into that. I'm not privy to the engineering side on that, so I will note that right now.
Right. Well, I think if you could preserve some of them, they'd be an asset to your project.
You finished?
Yeah.
Alderwoman Bate?
Thank you, Chairwoman. So what kind of landscaping or fencing will you have next to Butterfield property and your property?
The Butterfield property, you mean the commercial to the
Yeah.
south? There will be, it's good to have this site up. There is landscaping around as far as the buffer along the south side, which the nice thing about that is whenever that commercial is done, they'll have their own obligation, which are much higher for buffering, I would anticipate, and staff could speak to that a little bit more. So we're providing some landscaping right now, which has a mix of evergreens and flowering shrubs and probably some deciduous trees also. And then also then when the commercial comes into the south, they'll have their obligation under zoning for whatever buffering they need to provide.
Okay. And pricing is just based on square footage?
The pricing, and actually I'd forgotten to mention, the urban townhomes being a little bit larger, they're going to be about $445,000 for an average sales price. So it's not just based on square footage, but it ends up correlating somewhat because the traditional townhomes are about $225 per square foot. The urban ends up being about $223 is the estimate. So there is a correlation there, but it's not direct.
Okay. And it's interesting to see urban and traditional both at same location. Is there a reason why you chose this location to have both instead of having just urban or just traditional?
Yeah, absolutely. With 220 homes, it's nice. There's certain people that like one type, there's certain like the other. And also one thing that's really nice about that is for the exterior, you can do the urban or the traditional townhomes, which has the garage up front, it's more like a larger single-family home. It allows the back, in this case, to really mimic what is for the existing homes around the perimeter too. If you had urban townhomes, you'd have to have an alley behind it, and they'd be seeing the garages. And then for the interior clusters, it's really nice because you can have the face of the home out towards the street, and then you can have the parking in the rear. And another nice thing about that is it allows for a lot more on-street parking because in those interior areas where the urban homes are, they don't have driveways along that. So there really is a nice complement to having the two different products.
Okay. And retention ponds will have fountains or?
We are not anticipating any aerating to be needed based upon Aurora's engineering requirement. There have to be a certain percentage that need to be, I think it's about 10 feet deep or so, for there's water clarity that way. And if you don't need to, it's nice to not have that financial burden on the homeowners association.
And my last question, parking is approximately, for guest parking, how many?
About 40. There are about 20 to the north and 20 to the south of Mesa. And then also each home has 2 in the garage and then 2 in the driveway.
Okay. Do you think they're sufficient?
We do.
Okay, thank you.
I have a couple of questions. You want to go ahead and go first? Go ahead.
What is the price point for these?
The traditional townhomes will be about 400,000 or so, and the urban's about 445,000.
And are the internal street system besides Mesa, are they public or private streets?
The loop road will be public, the one that goes around in front of the traditional townhomes. The access roads within the urban areas will be privately owned by the homeowners association, similar to what is at Liberty Meadows.
Okay, all right, thank you.
So you bring up the homeowners association. Will that be something that will come into effect immediately, or will it be activated when you sell through all the units? How is that going to work?
It'll come to be and it'll be recorded on the property immediately. Early on, it will be managed by Lennar until there's build out of it, and then that way it can be handed over to the homeowners in a stable setting.
Okay, and you said some of those streets will be private. Will those streets be streets that will be maintained by the city, or?
No,
No.
the interior ones in between the darker homes on that, those will be maintained and owned by the homeowners
Okay, thank you.
association. The perimeter on the outside will be the city road, the loop to the north and the south, and then also Mesa will be public right-of-way.
And you had said that Mason will be no parking.
Correct.
Is it currently that way?
I do not know to the east, but staff had asked that to be part of the plan description, to have it limited to no parking, which we think makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it does. I just wonder if we're changing anybody else's habits around there.
I'm not for sure if it is, and this restriction would be just for the new portion. So if there is currently parking allowed on Mesa, we would have to change that with our Public Works Department if the city felt like that needed to be changed.
Thank you. And then I do have another question about 3 bedrooms. Obviously, children are going to be involved in that. There's always the question about the schools. You know, have we worked through the schools? And I know you guys always do, but it's always important to ask that question.
Yeah, so we have met, the staff has talked to Batavia School District. Lennar has also spoken to Batavia School District. We've provided, they are looking at walking, having this be a walkable to their 2 schools. The elementary school, which is kind of to the northeast, and then the middle school kind of to the northwest. So Lennar has outlined a kind of a safe walking route. Their proposal, of course, it would be up to the Batavia, that would take Mesa Lane east and then go north kind of through some of the subdivisions north to the elementary school.
And I do have another question. At the beginning of this, you had a slide where it showed the surrounding communities on that. The majority of the surrounding communities, like, is Savannah, is that townhomes? condo?
Townhomes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
this-
Okay. And is it townhomes that were sold, not rented?
Correct.
Okay. So the majority of the area, the back end of it backed up to, what, 5 homes? I saw that, correct?
And that's up here in Kirkland.
Yes, okay.
And that's where we have the large stormwater management facility, which is
Yes.
actually over a football field in separation, so it creates a great buffer. And we actually have met with those homeowners and talking through that sliver, and they're very excited to be getting that piece of property that's from the fence over to their back. They were concerned that Lennar may be building right to the property line. So it's been a great, good neighborly.
Good. You answered my next question, because you said they would be speaking to, so that conversation's already occurred. So it's not going to be of any problem to you guys.
Yeah, Marmion actually hosted a little bit of an open house for them.
Good. And then lastly, I just is the area saturated with townhomes? Is it, I mean, are they, like, is Savannah sold? Have they sold out? Are they, keeping up with their sales? We don't want to put a bunch of empty townhomes
No,
out
I
there.
think it's a needed product. Like Savannah is townhomes, but the rest of that area is really kind of more
Single-family
single
homes.
families. I feel like Savannah pretty much, I could be wrong, but I think they are filled and seem to be pretty popular townhome establishment. So when we were looking at going to the townhome product here, we did feel that, especially with the current housing needs, that this seems like an area that could use some of the more dense townhome developments.
Thank you. Thank you for answering all of our questions. Anyone else? Alderman Seville.
When do you plan on breaking ground, and when do you plan on completing the project?
We'd love to break ground tomorrow. The weather really doesn't quite allow for that. The goal would be to break ground spring into summer. The first vertical would be going in this fall. First homes being built, and within 4 years, that would be the target to sell the last home.
So you're doing it phases then?
All the earthwork, most of the development will be done one phase. There could be some pavement, but no, with this small of a community of 30 some odd acres, this would be done in one phase.
Okay. And then last question to follow up on the streets. The private streets that we built, I'm sure we have some type of standards. Do you know what they are?
I don't believe we have any specific
You do not?
standards for the private. I mean,
That's what
they're
makes
most
them
like
private.
drive aisles.
That's what makes them private.
Well,
They get to
but
do
we're
it there.
approving the development, though.
Well,
I mean,
They're not private like Redwood did private roads. They were actual roads. The homes fronted on them. We addressed off of them. So these are kind of like kind of more
long
like
driveway entrances?
drive aisles a little
Yeah,
bit is how
drive
how I
aisles.
see
And
them.
once again, it's similar to what we did over at Liberty Meadows, asphalt and then a concrete curb around them so that they're done the right way.
Yeah, I'm just concerned about the HOA and having to maintain them forevermore. So I just want to make sure
Forevermore.
that
Yeah.
the standards
As
are.
the Raven would say, yes.
Yeah, the standards are appropriate and not under what they need, so.
I'm pretty certain your engineering department is very thorough, and if anything was a concern their way, they would have brought it up, and there's not been any note of that.
Great, thank you. That's it.
Mike, you're our HOA guy.
Yeah.
Can I ask?
Yes, Alderwoman.
Do you plan to have rental cap on this?
Oh,
The
good
HOA.
question.
Nice thing is we went through all this with you guys with Liberty Meadows. And actually, Alderman Seville had some of the questions at that point. It will have the same homeowners association requirements. It will have a 30% cap, but there will be no restriction on VA loans and that type because those our understanding is, and working through with council, we don't want to have anything that would keep a veteran from being able to buy a home and get a mortgage in here. So that topic was well covered before, so thank you, sir.
Okay, I'm going to read back these item numbers one at a time, and we'll go through the approval process. So item number 25-0152, can I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion by Alderman Franco, second by Alderman Seville. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item moves forward. Second item is 25-0153.
So moved.
Motion
Second.
by Alderman Franco, second by Alderman Seville. All in favor?
Aye.
That item moves. Anyone opposed? Item moves forward. And the third item, 25-0154.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Alderman Franco, second by Alderman Seville. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed to that item? That item moves forward as well. Thank you for being here. Good luck. We're looking forward to it. The last item we have for today is 25-0177, a resolution initiating a public hearing to consider the revisions of Aurora's comprehensive plan for obvious changes throughout the city of Aurora. Has anyone got some? I'm real curious to hear what this is about.
Good evening, Chairwoman and members of the committee. Alex Minella, Senior Planner with the Mayor's Office of Economic Development. Regular and normal urban planning practice identifies a comprehensive plan as the document that sets goals and policies for the future of the community by recommending land uses for a foreseeable future. The document itself is somewhat flexible and adaptive, but it is our goal and commitment to interpret ever-changing trends and needs to keep the document current. As we heard with the previous legislative item, changes are always on the rise, and it is our duty to make those changes. For this reason, at times over the years, staff has come before you, like today, seeking permission to revisit the plan and recommend City Council what we define obvious changes by correcting errors, if there were any, and amending a designation or uses to be in keep with the economic, social, and physical trends. By moving this resolution forward, the staff will be enabled to proceed with the necessary investigation, mapping exercises, and make those recommendations in a report fashion to the council members. Once the report is ready, staff will facilitate a public hearing, the date of which is yet to be determined, because staff will start the process after the approval of this resolution.
Alderman Seville, would you like to start? Do you have questions? I do if you don't.
Yeah, so we don't know yet what those
Question.
changes are going to be. You're still evaluating it?
So we are going to look at all the school sites, for example. School sites might have a large component that is reserved for conservation, for as part of park drainage. So those changes most likely might refer to instead of being generally public as a designation, will be public with an additional designation for drainage and open space. As we go through the exercise parcel by parcel throughout the city, we might find that there are adjacent parcels owned by the park district, the school districts, for example, that are not identified as open spaces, but it might make sense, but just as public, and it might make sense to designate those as park, as buffer between the school and the adjacent residential areas.
So we're just looking at the school district properties then?
School district properties and everything that makes sense in the surrounding areas. For example, we just heard with Abbey Meadows by Mesa, the current comprehensive plan is not necessarily in keep with what the ultimate use will
Right.
be. So we'll make those corrections to anticipate and the needs and wants of the community.
And when's the last time we did this?
This was
Couple years usually.
Yeah, okay.
right. Yes.
Okay.
The biggest one was in 2021, I think. Yeah.
Great, so about 4 years.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Good. Quick clarification.
Alderman Donnell, go ahead.
Thank you. You kind of touched on something from my past when we were dealing with developers and open space and stormwater retention and waterways. So I just think it's very important in our designations that we clarify the difference between stormwater and drainage and what is pure park. Developers, imagine this in the day, sometimes try to get credit towards their park donation for stormwater requirements. And so I think it's helpful for us to just make sure that that's a clear designation, that it's either one or the other. Sometimes it can be both, and the park district back then would take these stormwater facilities if they were designed to the criteria, if they were adjacent to like an active park that was high and dry. So
So it will take.
are we going to put the back on the wall too? I always
Yes.
like that.
Yes. I'll make sure that goes back up. It may not match the decor, I'm not sure.
Or a big TV, you know.
And as part of the public hearing process, public notices will be facilitated. It's too early to define when this public hearing will take place, but it is part of the process, regular process that we always go through.
My question, just so that I have some clarification here, so this that you're asking, the word obvious is a really wide word to what obvious to you and what obvious to me could mean two total different things. Is this just for one set period of time? And then it's, this is for this one public hearing and that's it? This isn't a, freelance for everything that we've got going on?
So this resolution basically allows staff to open the book, open the document, go through every single, potentially every single parcel of the city, and verify, validate the status quo with what actually what the document foresaw back then in 1984, and with the subsequent changes. So it allows us, staff, to start the process of going through the document, and then when the document is ready, set the public hearing at sometime I don't know. It might be in a month or so, or it might be later, depending on the number of.
And all those things would be reviewed at that time at the public hearing?
Correct, correct. There will be a public hearing at Planning Commission, and then we'll go to BZ, COW, and City Council.
Okay, all right, thank you for the clarification. Any more? You ran out of questions tonight, I'm
One more.
sorry.
Do we still have the BB zoning on New York Street? Okay.
Unfortunately, yes, we do. So we have BP zoning on East New York Street. You know the whole history of
I
that.
do,
It was
I
really
do.
before we had more control over things that could come in as planned developments and so on. The goal probably would be eventually to convert BB to something else,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
there's not a lot of it left.
Yeah, okay. I was just curious,
Yes.
because I was on the planning commission when we instituted that in the 80s.
Because it's got its own setbacks and parking and signage that doesn't match the
Yeah,
rest of the city,
yeah,
so
okay.
makes it difficult.
Thank you.
Any further questions on this item? Do I have a motion by Alderman Seville, second by Alderman Donnell. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That item moves forward. We thank you very
Have a
much.
good evening. Thank you.
Good luck. Sounds like a big task. No need for a closed session. A motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Oh, motion to adjourn by Alderman Franco, second by Alderman Seville. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? This meeting is adjourned at 4:53.